All right, good morning, grade 10s. So today I've asked you to do some flowers for your Mother's Day card. And as you can see, this is the picture that we did in class of the flowers with overlapping petals. So if you look here, it looks like the petals are overlapping and they look a little bit transparent. And I want to remind you of this technique. Right. So because most of us don't have our watercolors, they're at school, I'm going to show you how to do this with your color pencils. So you're going to use your colored pencils as a little palette, right? And I like splatters on my paper, as you know, so I'm not going to stress of because the little speckles that come on there give it personality. So what you do is you draw your petal like that, right? Any petal shape that you want. I'm doing a slightly rounded petal. And then you lift the color, right? I'm just putting it on the corner of my paper. Normally you would put it onto a piece of kitchen towel. So we lift it and so that it looks like that. If you want to, you can then, we're using a wet on wet technique, so you can take a little bit more color, dab it on, and remember our credit card technique, where you can take an old credit card and you just scratch some little lines into your petal, which makes it look like it has veins. All right, so something like that. That's just an idea. Then you're going to put another petal. You put one in that isn't directly touching that one, because that one is still very wet. So let's put one in over here somewhere. And there's another petal. Okay. Again, we're going to try and lift the color a little bit so that the center of the petal becomes nice and smooth, nice and light, so that we have some boundaries. And I'm going to use my credit card and scratch a few little veins in, which we can then dab a little bit of color in the center of the petal. So I'm using my watercolor pencil as a little palette and getting the pigment from there. Right, so do you see what that's doing? So we're going to let that dry for a little bit. Let me put a third petal on. You can also use different colors if you want to, and make it as interesting as you want to. Obviously this is a daisy type flower, right? I'm in a little bit of an awkward position, so please forgive the way I'm doing this. A few veins for this petal too. Okay. And I'm going to dab a little bit more color in the center, and there I have three petals to my flower. Remember, petals don't have to be straight. We could have one that's bending this way perhaps, and we could do this, and the veins are going to give direction to your petals. Okay, so this one's going in that direction. Try to lift the color a little bit. Use the veins. Credit card. This actually wasn't a credit card. It was I think it was some kind of a rewards card. Okay, so something like that. So those have dried a little bit. I don't think they've dried enough. But I'm going to still try to do another petal. You can use a blow dryer, although some people say that the blow drying actually affects the colors of your watercolors, but you can, as far as I'm concerned. I often use a blow dryer, which I don't have here at the moment in my new classroom / office. Let's see if it still looks like it overlaps a bit. It's going to blend, but that's okay, right? It's not a problem. Let's see if we can get this to look like it's overlapping a bit. Okay, it's a little bit too wet. Let me try to do another one on this side. Okay, but you get the idea. So if your you have time to let your paint dry a little bit better, you should get a better effect than I have here. All right, so that was the overlapping petal technique, and you can use that. Now the other one I wanted to show you quickly is if you're drawing a hydrangea, because one of the pictures I've sent you is of hydrangeas. So what we do is we basically give ourselves a roundish shape, okay, and the petals of a hydrangea look, they have 4 little parts to them, so they look something like this. Okay, so we're just going to put in some petals. Now remember what I said to you, if you have a flower that comprises lots of little flowers, we don't draw all the petals. The best way to make it look 3D is to just let some petals be very vague, right? So we're just going to draw little lines in the background, and so we draw our petals. Now what we do with this one is, oops, I've only got 3 petals here. Well, never mind, we'll put another one there. We'll smudge it just now. So just put in some petals, and then on the corners you can give it a bit of a petal shape, right? So that some of the petals are obviously going to be showing from the back. So you're going to complete the flower like that, and then you can either shade it with your pencil like this, but I prefer to use my pencil as a palette. So I'm going to do the same thing as I did with the other petals, right? Not worrying about the little drops. They give character to our picture. If you don't like them, then just move your paintbrush away from your picture when you're doing this, right? Remember, we need to leave some white places, and we need to put some darker colors in as well. So what I'm going to do is quickly grab a darker blue. I've got a deep cobalt, which is a purpley color here, which we can add. And I think the color for me, because I'm left-handed, will be coming from the left. It's easier to come from the left if you're left-handed, from the right if you're right-handed, which means the petals will be a little bit darker on the right-hand side. And so you're going to work on your petals this way, right? Do you see? Do you remember how we did these? It's nice to have different colors in there. We could put a little bit of purple. If you wanted, you could put a little bit of pink where you think there's light. If you're doing a pink one, include some yellow and so forth. Again, here I would have to lift and put the paper, the color onto my card. All right, so have some fun. Do those for me. Contact me. I'll be on the group, on the WhatsApp group as you work. We can also use the credit card here to put some veins in if you would like to, right? Remember, then you just dab a little bit of a darker color on the top. Let's see what color I have here that we can use. Let's use a bit of the dark cobalt and show you how that's going to work, right? So there's a bit too much water here, so it's going to go like that. And then when it's a bit dry, you can put a color in the center. We can put a little bit of white highlights in. All right, so have fun. Let's see if you can do some beautiful flowers. We'll work on the leaves in the next lesson. Okay,